What's up everyone, Jared here for the Smoking Android, and this is part 2 of our review for the LG Optimus 4G LTE, where we will be looking at some benchmark scores, data speed tests, and a couple other things, so let's begin. Okay, so no more messing around, let's kick this video off with some benchmark tests. So to start, let's jump into Antutu first. Now, in the interest of saving time, I'm going to go ahead and skip to the results. So we'll start this off with you guys on here. And we'll see you back here in just a second. Okay, so we're back with our Antutu results, and moving over to the score chart, you can see how this compares to some of the other devices out there. This will ever end up loading. Alright, so we'll go over to the bar chart, and as you can see, our device scored 6,028, and just above it is the Galaxy S2, and above that the Galaxy Nexus. Okay, so now we're going to start quadrant standard, and again we'll go ahead and skip to the end results. And here we are with our results compared to some other devices. That were launched around the same time. So not too bad. And for the last benchmark test, we're going to use CF benchmark. And again, we're going to go ahead and skip to the end results. Okay, let's see how we did. Go all the way to the bottom here. Some pretty acceptable numbers when comparing to other devices in its class. So as you can see, the device performs decently. Could be a little better in some areas considering the impressive internal hardware specs, but I think we need to all realize that this phone seems like it was, at least in my opinion, like it was pretty much built with ice cream sandwich in mind. It is running Gingerbread, which, as many of you know, doesn't fully utilize multi-core devices. I think that once ICS reaches this device, we will really see some impressive performance, which is kind of a shame because by that point, many other devices will have hit the market, making the Optimus sort of forgotten. But if you have purchased this phone, then I think you certainly have something to look forward to. Now, unfortunately, I don't get Bell's super fast and ever expanding LTE coverage at the moment over here on Vancouver Island, which is where I live. So I was going to go over to Vancouver for the day where I could test out the LTE speeds, but I've become really busy lately and wasn't able to take the time to do that. But I do get HSPA coverage out here, so for fun, let's do a quick data speed test with the device. Go ahead and launch that. Begin test. So we're getting up there, 6, looks like it's holding out at about 6, 6.1, 6.2, looks like it averaged out at 6.3 megabits per second, and the upstream, about 1.7 megabits per second. So, as you can see, nothing too crazy with HSPA Plus, or otherwise known to some as 3.5G. I do happen to know, however, that LTE speeds on this device are pretty high. Something like 45 megabits per second down and around 10 megabits per second up, or something along those lines. So definitely don't hold these speeds against what this phone was designed for, which is the LTE speeds. So next thing we want to look at is how the device handles heavy multitasking, or at least my version of heavy multitasking. So let's go ahead and launch some heavy CPU resource hogging apps, And so first we'll go ahead and start up a game, and we'll choose Shadowgun since we have it installed already. Go ahead and get right into it. And then we'll go ahead and hit the home button actually, and start up one of the benchmarking apps. And we'll use CF Bench for this test. So we'll go ahead and load that up. And full bench, there we go. And then we'll go ahead and load the web browser to simulate an action you might want to perform while moving in between apps. Hit the home button again, and we'll go ahead and launch the browser. Now, in addition, I have loaded up all 7 screens, or home screens, with widgets to visibly show the performance of the device while navigating through them. With this amount of multitasking going on in the background, we should be able to get a pretty good idea of what's going on. So we've got the benchmark running in the background. We do have the game running as well. And as you can see, flipping between home screens is proving to be a bit difficult. It's struggling a little bit. Navigating between the home screens. So let's see how it handles when switching between the benchmark and the game. So we'll go ahead and load up the benchmark, and then from the benchmark we'll go ahead and switch over to the game. And as you can see, it does take a little time to switch between. The device is struggling a bit, but what's nice to see is that it is in fact able to handle heavy load with no force closes or rebooting. Now let's see how it handles while using the browser with the multitasking. Let's load up Engadget, since it's a pretty content-rich site. And get that going. There we go. Alright. So the benchmark's still going in the background, the game's still running, and we're loading up a page. Wasn't too bad there. Pretty decent speeds, pinch to zoom. Still nothing yet. Might be because we're on the mobile site here right now. We'll go to the desktop site. As you can see, it's still kind of taking some time to load, but still pulling through definitely. And see if we can scroll while it's still loading. We certainly can. Pinch to zoom. Not too bad at all. So after all that, it performed okay, but again, considering the internal specs, I was kind of expecting a little more. Now, generally speaking, with a dual-core device with higher clock speeds, you'd think the battery consumption would be an issue. Well, I can honestly tell you that after using this device as my main daily device for about 2 weeks now, the battery actually holds up pretty good with an average with average usage. Keeping in mind everybody's idea of average usage is a bit different, but for me, average usage is usually about like 10-15 minutes of gaming, 5 to 10 of web browsing, you know, maybe 200 text messages, some talk time, a little bit of YouTube, approximately 150 emails a day, some video chatting and playing around with photos and stuff like that, and obviously checking my phone for the time throughout the day. So basically, the 1830 milliamp battery does a pretty good job at holding a charge. Now, one thing I did want to touch base on was how the display handled in direct daylight. I often take my dog to the park just down the street from my house, and while he's running around, I like to play with my phone. But when I whipped out the Optimus, I noticed that the glare from the glass is a little intense, so I turned the brightness up all the way, and it did help a little. But because of that glare, I still found it very difficult to do anything like play a game, watch YouTube videos, or much of anything else for that matter, other than typing out quick emails or even text messages. Now, I'm not sure what causes the crazy amount of glare. It could be the Gorilla Glass, I'm not sure. But I can say when indoors and the brightness is bumped up to full, watching HD content is beyond impressive. While out to dinner the other night, I showed some of my friends the HD video samples, which we'll look at now together, and I'll select actually, well, I like this one, to be honest with you. No, that's not true. That's not true. I lied. I like this one the best. Anyways, they were absolutely blown away. They said they had never seen anything like it before, and the look on their faces was actually like watching someone from the 1930s discovering a smartphone sent back from the future. It was priceless. So as you can see, the display is just fantastic. Also, I just wanted to quickly show you how the camera performed with some of the pictures here, but we'll just kind of give you the awe of the display here. Wonder if there's any sound with this one. You can hear the audio as well. Some rich colors there. Alright, Now I did want to show you some pictures really quickly on how the camera show how the camera performed. I'm sorry, and go ahead and as you can see, with any built-in camera on any phone, usually its Achilles heel is usually the low lighting. But there's my parking lot and the sunny day. There's somebody we're all familiar with. The park, black and white, my dog. I mean, so as you can see, it performed decently, but again, like I said, oh, and there's my Gumby mug. But yeah, it seems that in low lighting, with any camera phone, it has its issues. So, what's my verdict? Would I recommend this phone for someone looking for a new device? Is this phone going to be relevant for at least until the end of your contract? And the answer to those questions is yes. I do recommend this device. If you're looking for something to really wow people and yourself with its amazing 4.5-inch HD screen for viewing HD content like movies and pictures, then this phone is definitely for you. Also, if you're moving over from, say, a BlackBerry or an iPhone, I think this phone's a good transition because LG has done a really nice job of leaving a lot of the stock Android feeling to it. The menus aren't overly saturated with options, the look of the icons, and the overall feeling of scrolling through the app drawer gives a very simplistic and simple feeling to it. But because it's Android, LG has given it the perfect amount of proprietary customization throughout the UI, and in my opinion, potentially eliminating the need for third-party launchers and themes. But if you're looking for a device that is going to be a multitasking beast, allowing you to quickly move from playing a resource-hungry game to texting or surfing the web, then you might want to wait for Ice Cream Sandwich to hit this device. And as I said before, Gingerbread really isn't all that much designed for multi-core devices, and I truly believe that LG built this device with ICS in mind. And that brings us to the question of whether or not this device will be relevant for some time to come, or if it will be a thing of the past. And the simple answer to that is yes, it will be relevant for quite some time to come. It hasn't even officially received ICS, and once it does, it will be quite the impressive phone. Keep in mind, we are now in the age of multi-core optimized operating systems. Well, that wraps up part 2 and our final review of the LG Optimus 4G LTE from Bell. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this review as much as I enjoyed testing it out. But before I go, I do want to tell all of you to keep an eye out for our next unboxing. We have 2 more devices on their way sometime next week, so I'm excited to get into those. Well, that's it. Thanks again for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. Alright, everybody, till next time, the Smoking Android signing out.